eventually, the next year, when you get good at it, you can realize that we are not only talking about 3% increment or 5%, but we are talking about, like what you say, 3 times, 5 times, 4 times. That's the gap that we are really talking about. I'm kind of curious, like because you mentioned kind of when you switch over to this closing remotely, right? Over the time, you develop the skill, you kind of master the horn, right? And then you start making more money. So, what is the difference in between working on 9 to 5 and closing remotely in terms of the scalability?
You mean scalability? You mean sustainability, or
scalable, like in terms of your income, skill wise, like how fast can it scale, right? Yeah, is there any difference?
Of course.
Tell us more.
It's like night and day, right? Because let's take, for example, the 9 to 5 that I had. I was there for almost 3 years, and like every month, I just made around $500 to $600. There was no increase, nothing, especially during the pandemic. It was even like decreased, but over time
like
with
a pay cut, right?
Yeah,
right.
I really experienced that. I was put on minimum wage, and I had nothing, like nowhere to go. So I had to, to eat shit for a long time until my skill finally paid off. But with closing, right, the more that you improve yourself, the more that you try to really work on improving your skill, the more that it pays. I find that over time, because I have a tracker, right? I'm tracking the income that I'm making. It's really like
every day.
It's really every month. So I have like a net worth tracker. It's really trending up. There are there are days, months when it was like kind of low. So because there's highs and lows when your skill is not yet stable. But eventually, what I found the pattern is it's going up. So I wasn't stuck on like making $600 a month for 3 years. Like my first year in closing, I can tell you, right? I think I've already like 4x, 5x, my skills since I started. So yeah, thank God, right, that I discovered the world of closing.
Yeah, definitely. Because you know what's funny? Because one day I remember it's probably about February 2022, which is February this year. Yeah. So me and my wife, we were just hanging out at the Starbucks. So we were kind of like setting the new goal for 2022, and then we realized that in terms of income, in terms of the money that we are making, right? If you are working on a job, and let's just suppose that you're performing very well, all right? Probably your boss is going to tell you, hey, Carla, you know what? Performance is great. So I'm increasing your salary by 3%, 5%. Let's say you are taking, $5,000. 5% isn't a lot, $250. But including the inflation, the fact is that instead of having a pay raise, you're actually having a pay cut. That's what we realized,
Yeah, it's
and
like
I'm sure
nothing.
you can resonate with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we quickly realized that, okay, if let's say you really want to make that kind of income, like exponentially, just like what you experience, right? You drop, decrease, up and down, and then it goes up eventually. You have to do something out of your 9 to 5. That's what we realized. Because for the first year I've been closing, right? The first year is kind of like, it sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna be honest, it sucks. Like, I was stepping into the game expecting, okay, you know what? Probably next month I'll be earning 10K. But the fact is that I'm not even earning $1,000. It's not even $1,000. So that's very bad. But eventually, the next year, when you get good at it, you can realize that we are not only talking about 3% increment or 5%, but we are talking about, like what you say, 3 times, 5 times, 4 times. That's the gap that we are really talking about.